I know. I often think when my life flashes in front of me, it's going to be a very strange experience. Because if you look at it this week, I've talked to the wolves. I've worked out how to future-proof your Grade 1 listed house, should you have one. And today, it's baton twirling. All right.
Where did this come from? Baton twirling?
Don't ask me. I just have this vision of our producer sitting with a blindfold and a pin and just stabbing it wildly in the air and looking, oh, look at that, it's baton twirling today. Anyway, it's baton twirling, and I'm with Julie Bird, and the reason I'm with Julie is because she is setting up a baton twirling group, because basically you feel that we don't do enough baton twirling here in the UK.
No, that's right. In America it's quite big, but over here it's something that's not really heard of. Cheerleading seems to have taken off here, and baton twirling is equally as much fun with more skill involved.
Now, if you can hear voices in the background, that's the voice of your daughter and 3 of her friends who are dressed in wonderful outfits, every which colour. They've got batons in hand, and they're sort of practising on the lawn. We'll chat to them in a minute. Now, the first thing, because I know nothing about baton twirling, this is an activity which has completely passed me by. But the most important thing to establish is it's very different to majorettes, but often confused.
Yeah, majorettes tend to be more military-based. You see them marching along when they do competitions. It's very military formation. They tend to use a lot more maces, colour guards and rifles and that sort of thing. Whereas baton twirling is actually more a sport, and the girls are considered athletes. Then it involves a lot of dance and gymnastics and acrobatics.
Now, you're obviously passionate about this, Julie, but again, for someone who is English, this is quite unusual, isn't it? Where did you get your interest from?
Myself, I was about 9 when I started doing this. A neighbour used to go to a majorette group, and I went along and actually joined there. So myself, I started out as a majorette, and the interest went from there. And as I got older, I discovered that there were actually 2 sides to the baton twirling world, and liked the competitive baton twirling world rather than the majorette side.
Well, I'm just going to finish up on one move. I'm just going to go and chat to your daughter. Everyone's about sort of 15. I know that April's got a birthday in a few days' time. Just show me one quick move. How do you start as a baton twirler? What's the first thing you do?
You usually do platters, and they're pretty basic. You just go round in a circle and make sure it's flat.
Okay, now you make it sound very, very easy. So essentially what we've got there is the horizontal movement. Right, I've now taken the baton into my hand, Andrew, and we're just moving it round, just like that, just moving it between the fingers like this. Oh no, I'm going the wrong one, aren't I?
You usually have the ball at the top, which is the biggest end of the baton, and then in your hand you just move it round in a circle, following it.
Okay, I can see that this is where practice comes in. You might need to give me half an hour, I think, Andrew, just to completely...
Half an hour?
Well, yeah, half an hour to get one movement. I think if I'm not fast enough to pick up one movement in half an hour, my baton twirling career is sadly going to be limited.
Yeah, it's not going to be Olympic standard, I suppose. Maggie Philbin, ladies and gentlemen, is baton twirling this morning. More up to her.
Yeah, okay. So, platters, rolls, flips, tosses and tricks. I am beginning to get hold of the terminology of baton twirling this morning. I've come along to Woodley, where they're going to set up the Woodley Mirage Twirlers. So if you have a daughter, or indeed a son, because come boys do this as well, Julie?
Yeah, they do. I have actually had 2 inquiries from boys already, so it's a unisex thing.
So there we go. If you know any sort of like girls or boys you fancy having a go at baton twirling, then this is the place to come. Now, I've got April, Hannah, Amy and Nikki here. They're wearing some wonderful outfits. Aren't you absolutely freezing, April?
It's quite cold, but eventually you do warm up.
Okay. Now, I started off with what was essentially a horizontal move. Immediately was spotted that maybe my baton was too long for me. And so inadvertently I've discovered I've got short arms. Is this a disadvantage for being a baton twirler? I mean, you know in the same way that you always think that people who do synchronized swimmings, that they need to have long legs. To look good as a baton twirler, do you need to have long arms?
Not really, because there's different sizes of batons, so you always find the right baton to suit you.
Okay, so I've worked on the basic move, which is a platter, which is essentially like a horizontal move. But we're doing something else now, so just do a quick demonstration, because you seem to be hurling these batons at each other. I'm sure there's a technical term, but this one I haven't learned. What's this called?
These are dead stick throws, so
Okay.
quite basic.
Okay, so the four of you are lined up in a square, and now you kind of hurl them across at each other. There's a bit of pointing going on here. I think they're working out the direction of the throw. I'm just going to stand back slightly and talk to Julie, because I can see that I'm obviously in the wrong place here. I'm likely to get a baton, well, through my ear, basically.
Yeah, I mean, basically they're doing exchanges, which you can do different types. They're doing, like, as April said, a basic exchange, but they can go on to vertical throws, tosses. You can do them in different movements. You could move around in a circle and catch the next person's baton as opposed to throwing it on.
Now, to the uninitiated, this looks quite straightforward. I think I'm going to go and give it a go. So I've got my little baton here.
Okay.
Put that down. Right, here we go. Sorry, I just distracted April. April's dropped it. April, I'm going to take your place. Can I do this one-handed?
Yeah.
So I throw and catch with the same hand, do I?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, right. So we're going to do one now. Here we go. Okay. Do we count? How do I know when you're going to throw? Just go. Okay. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoop. Wait! Well, I caught it. There we go. There we go.
We'll let you do some practicing. Come back in a while. Maggie Philbin is learning the art of drum twirling.